welcome back to my channel, Northbound with Alexia. Today I want to take you back to when I first arrived in Canada in the middle of winter, and not to mention, it was during the COVID-19 pandemic. Trust me, it was an experience that I'll never forget. I'll also share with you what it was like going through the landing process and getting my social insurance number, which most people call a SIN. So if you're planning to come to Canada, this might help you to know what to expect. After I arrived here in Canada, the first step was to complete my landing process as a permanent resident. At the airport, the immigration officers checked my documentation, asked me a few questions about like if I'm COVID positive, because like I mentioned that I came in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic. So they had asked me if I had been in contact with anyone during COVID or if I'm COVID positive and stuff like that. They also asked me like the address I'll be staying, and they also told me that because it was COVID-19 and so they told me I had to be isolated, and then they stamped my confirmation of residence paper. That stamp was like opening a new chapter in my life. It meant I had officially landed in Canada. I was so excited. I was excited. I was nervous. I'm like, yeah. Just kidding. Anyways, I was really excited though. And I was excited, but I felt nervous. It was kind of nerve-wracking because guess what? You're going in the unknown, right? So I was very nervous. So, but for the most part, I was excited because I'm like, yeah, I'm in Canada now. I'm officially a permanent resident. So yeah, accomplished. I felt accomplished. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Then you know, I had to go for my luggages and stuff like that. So picture this, guys. I landed in Canada in January, the coldest month of the year. I stepped outside the airport and bam, this ice blast of cold air hit me in my face. It was something that I've never felt before because I've never traveled to a cold country. Well, let me correct that. I've been to the States, however, I've never traveled in winter. So I've never experienced winter. So the cold for me was devastating when I exited the airport. Oh my God. I felt like no layer of clothing can keep me warm from this type of weather. I was shocked. I didn't know that that's how it felt when people was explaining. It's like you can't know how cold feel until you've experienced it. Trust me. However, experiencing the cold in person, it's much different from one when someone is telling you about it because you're feeling it, it's touching your skin. And trust me, the cold was a shock to my body when I stepped out of that airport, guys. I'm telling you. There's nothing that can, to be honest, I don't feel like there's anything that can prepare you for that. To me, I don't know. It was just my experience. That's how I felt. So, after the experience of exiting the airport and feeling winter for the first time on my skin and seeing white snow on the ground, it was beautiful. I've never seen snow in person, so I was in awe. I landed at Toronto Pearson's airport, and driving up from the airport, you see all the high rise and all of that. So the scenery was beautiful with the white snow. It looked just as in the movies, because that's the only place I had seen snow, right? In the movies, or if someone had video called me and I saw it on a phone. I've never seen it in person. So for me, that part of it was like, oh my God, breathtaking. I loved the scene. After all of that, reaching home, there was a few steps that I had to take, right? One of the first thing I did when I landed was apply for my social insurance number. So without the social insurance number, you can't work. So I had to apply for a social insurance number. I had to go to the Service Canada branch to get my social insurance number. Now, bear in mind that this is during COVID, so they were only doing this by an appointment. So I had to call and book an appointment with them, right? And then they gave me a date, and when I went in, they asked me for my landing papers and they asked me for government ID, right? And the government ID I gave them was my passport from back home. No, it was pretty straightforward at that point. You wait and they give you your social insurance number, right? So that's one thing that you need to get like immediately after you land, right? Social insurance number, it plays a very vital part in your everyday life in Canada, right? So I got my social insurance number. That was the first step I took when I came here. I would say, looking back at the first couple of weeks in Canada, it was both exciting and overwhelming, and trying to social distance in a new country along with the cold weather testing my faith. It was a lot to deal with, guys. It was too much, to be honest with you. I can remember like it was yesterday. It was a lot. It felt very depressing. It felt very lonely. I felt very lonely during that period. I felt very homesick. I got really homesick during that period. I missed it back home. I had to tell myself that eventually things will feel much better, right? And then I started to look on the positive sides of coming to Canada, and I started to refocus my attention on what is a positive in my life, right? Now, the landing process, I started to look at the whole process of how things came together and stuff like that, and then I started to uplift my spirit, you know what I'm saying? So getting my landing paper, knowing that the new chapter of my life has begun. It wasn't easy, but it is worth it. So that was my first experience in Canada, arriving in the COVID-19 pandemic in the middle of winter, going through the landing process and getting my social insurance number. Before I go, let me share a little advice to anyone who's planning to come to Canada. Number one, dress in layers. Trust me when I say 2 sweaters are better than 1. 2, get good boots, because ice doesn't care about your confidence. Because when you fall on that ground, ain't no confidence gonna be left. So take my advice, wear proper boots. Number 3, don't procrastinate about getting your social insurance number. The sooner you get the number, everything will work out better for you, because when you get your number, you can start working and building your life. Remember, the sooner, the better. Get your social insurance number the first thing that you do. Number 4, please remember, be patient with the process. It might seem a bit overwhelming and slow, but be patient with the process. Everything takes time. It's all a part of settling in. And finally, I saved the best one for last. Never lick a metal pole during winter. I've never done it. However, I've seen lots of videos with people tongue get stuck to a metal pole. Would you want your tongue to be stuck to a metal pole? I don't think so. I never want to test Canada's science, so I stay away from all the poles, apart from the North Pole. I would want to go test out the North Pole someday, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, no metal poles in your mouth, people. Stay away from the metal pole during winter. Oh, welcome to Canada. And just remember, the cold is temporary, but the opportunities last longer. It's just a part of the journey. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video if you found it helpful. See you in the next one.